Hey everybody, JK here from Animator Island. Welcome to today's live stream. It's going to be a quick, short live stream. Really, I'm here to give everybody a bit of an update, but I thought might as well get some art done at the same time. So I will fire up the old iPad and we'll color almost the last creature that I have to do for Mythic Ranch Cardfire. So close to being done with these. But in the meantime, while I'm working on this, I will chat a little bit about what's going on. So you may have noticed that we have had a short interruption with the Animator Island TV live streams. Essentially, Ferdinand has been traveling or was traveling for a while and is catching up on work and doing all that life stuff that you have to do after you've been away for a while. I also was traveling a bit, and then for me, and I will try and work at the same time. For me, what happened was I got bit by a tick and poison ivy on the same day, and that wasn't a lot of fun. And I found out that I'm probably allergic to poison ivy because it spread everywhere. And then they weren't sure if the tick bite was causing Lyme's disease, so I went and got a test for that. First, I was on antibiotics for like 21 days. That was really rough stuff, and then got a test for that. The good news is the test came back negative, so I'm hopeful that that means I don't have Lyme's disease, but it takes apparently 4 to 6 weeks to incubate, so I may have to go for another test just to double check since it was closer to the 4-week end than the 6-week side, but I don't know. We'll find out. But it's just been kind of crazy in that regard. And then yesterday morning at 1:30 in the morning, I went to the emergency room because I thought I was having a heart attack. Good news is, wasn't that, but probably a really bad case of acid reflux, way worse than I've ever had. So that was new to me. But that means I'm going to have to really, really pay attention to the diet and make sure that I've taken care of myself a little more. But all that being said, I'm kind of exhausted today, so forgive me if I'm rambling at all or not getting things done well enough. But that's kind of what's been happening with us. The good news is that hopefully things are settling down a little bit, in which case we'll both be back to regular live streams again coming up. We just kind of have to play it by ear and see how things are going to go. But the hope is that that will be the case. So that's why things have been a little bit dark around the channel for a little while, and please forgive us for that. But we'll try and get things back on track coming up. All right, so it's kind of interesting. So I'm just kind of finishing up these creature colorings. If you watch some of the previous live streams, you'll know that I've been working on these creature designs for an upcoming mobile game. And so that's what I'm kind of finishing up here now. Wrong one. This character, whose name is Cal with a K, I like his design. I enjoy this character in terms of design, but I'm not sure I'm a huge fan of this pose. The original is up in the right-hand corner there. The new one is a little more dynamic than the old one, but not a lot. And I feel like when I got to redesigning this particular sprite, it just feels not what I was hoping for. So I am going to continue to finish up the coloring on it because I'm so close to finishing all of the creature design for this particular game. But there are a handful of critters that I'm kind of tempted to go back and tweak afterwards. And this is one of them. I don't know if I will. It just depends on timing and if I'm not busy doing 1,000 other things for this game, because there's a lot to do. But we'll see. Overlay doesn't work there. I'm just flipping through different layer effects to see what I want to use for this top one. Oh, that's kind of interesting. I didn't anticipate making that slightly bluer, but it kind of works. Kind of like it. All right. So as I said, it's kind of going to be a short live stream. Just going to kind of do this one character, and then honestly, I may go back to bed for a little while because I'm just kind of exhausted. Here's an interesting thing. I don't know if I'll do it for this particular character, but it's interesting. I recently came across a post online that was about shading, and they talked about treating the totality of the shading as one thing, and then going back and using that almost as a reference for the individual shading. So, for example, I would treat his entire body as one thing, and maybe do this giant bit of shading here, and then go back in and use this as a base for a more final shading. So for example, if I took this and I just, let's drop the opacity down just so I can see where it is, I could maybe take that and then use it to do my final shading in such a way that it it treated it more as one form. So I'm going to try that and see what happens, because I've not worked that way before, but I think it's actually a rather interesting idea. So I will add in this too, and then I will go back later and do the I'll go back later and do the mouth individually. But this is an interesting, different way to work. And let's see if I maybe take out this bit and put that in light again by erasing. Another quick tip while I'm thinking of it, using the eraser as a pen almost is really useful. So what I mean by that is I just went in with an eraser and I erased the shadow on his arm, but I treated that as almost I was painting back in the light. So don't necessarily think of the eraser only as an eraser. You can think of it as a way to add something almost by reduction, in a sense. So it's just an interesting thing that changed some stuff for me once I got used to doing that. All right, so that will work for that, and we'll set that to soft light. And I think I'll drop the opacity down a bit. And now I need to go back in and get rid of the shadow in the mouth here, and I'll add it back in, but slightly differently. So we'll take that out, and then I will go back in. And how do I want to do this? We'll add it back in, but we're not going to go quite as extreme as we did. I've just dropped it down a little bit so that it's a bit more subtle, but I'm keeping that otherwise in general. And then I might go in and I might put in a little bit of shadow in the back here as well. Erase out the teeth. All right. Yeah, I guess that works well. I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I like that back shadow on his mouth. Let's get rid of that. Come on, erase. It needs something. It's not quite right. But as I said, I feel like part of that is that I'm not super thrilled with the pose. So it's just not going to be everything that I want it to be. I wonder what happens if I give him some highlights instead on this head. Let's try. It doesn't hurt to try. None of these are really speaking to me. So try one last thing and then yeah, I'm not sure. Not sure I like that. Drop the opacity down. That might can make it super subtle. Does it add anything? I guess it adds something when we're zoomed out a little bit. So maybe I'll keep it. Actually, maybe I will see what happens if I add also some to the antlers. That might also notch it up another level. Come on, blasted pen. Do what I'm asking you to do. All right. There we go. Just subtle. All right, that works, I think. I don't know. Don't know if I like the little extra bit on his tongue. I feel like it, again, it needs something, but I'm not sure I'm getting what it needs. Well, I may just, it's just not the right spot. That's what happens when you make stuff up. This is why you shouldn't make stuff up. This would be a lot easier if I had an actual light source and I was playing by the rules. Right now, I'm just messing with it until it works, and that's just not happening right now. And so I've said it in previous live streams, and I'll say it again. It pays to learn the fundamentals and then kind of use them before you go breaking stuff. Right now, I'm tired, so I'm not in the right. I'm not using my principles correctly. So that's where we're getting hung up here. And in fact, I kind of like the tongue highlight more than I like the head highlight. So I'm going to take the head highlight out, and I think that ends up actually working better. So that was just, it was distracting. It was too much contrast. There's too many spots to look at, and you need to kind of pick a focal area. So I gave the mouth a little more of the focal point with that highlight, took it off the head, and I think that works a lot better. And then last thing I think I'm going to try is adding just very subtle shading to the eyes. Really, really subtle. You're probably not going to notice it, but if we zoom in enough, you will, and it might just feel like there's something there, even if we don't super see it. All right. Well, that turned out okay. Like I said, I would really love to redesign the sprite entirely, give it a much more interesting pose. This is very twinned, and it's very it's fine, but it's just not Maria says it's kind of charming. It's making feel like that people think he's dangerous, but he's actually only trying to hit a high note. I like it. Yeah, he does look like he's singing opera there. And to be fair, as a creature in this universe, he's not really that dangerous. He's just kind of big and silly. JP says, Ferdinand, you look so different. Not Ferdinand. It's JK here today. But as I said earlier, Ferdinand will hopefully be back to some live streams soon. We are both been very busy, so that's our problem. And then lastly, before we wrap things up, because as I said, we're really short today, just to give a quick update on things. The software I'm working in right now is Procreate on the iPad Pro with an Apple Pencil. Here's the iPad. It's an older generation model of both the pencil and the iPad because it was cheaper to get that refurbished than it was to get one of these fancy new ones. And honestly, it works perfectly well. I really like it. At some point when this one kind of bites the dust, I will probably upgrade to a newer model because the new pen snaps to the iPad and it more easily charges, and you can use a lot more layers from what I hear in Procreate, because Procreate limits your layers based on how much your hardware can handle, which I really appreciate because it means it's not gonna crash and stuff. JP asked what number iPad Pro. That's a great question. I think it's a 2017 model or something. iPad Pro 2 generation 2 makes sense. I'm sorry, I bought it like a year and a half, 2 years ago. Trying to see if I can. Let me see if I can look it up on the other screen while I'm still doing stuff here. 1 second. I don't know if it's a 12.9-inch one. I'm almost positive. I think it's an iPad Pro 2nd generation, or is it 4th? What are they on now? Does anybody know what they're on now? That would probably help. I was when I was deciding to buy it, I went online and watched a bunch of videos on YouTube of people who had gotten the older model versus the newer model. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of, you should buy these, but it's I don't see a list of like, here are all the different generations or when the generations came out. All right, well, I'm gonna just sit here and ramble, but I'm not sure which number it is. I could tell you that it's the model before they switched to the new Apple Pencil. So if you want to look it up, that is what I use. I will also say if you're interested in getting an iPad Pro, I highly recommend that you try out a few different screen protectors, or not even necessarily protectors, but screen covers, because on the original glass of an iPad Pro, I don't like drawing. Like, it doesn't feel good to me. It's slippery and it just doesn't fit. But because I got a refurbished one, it came with a screen protector that feels great. I don't even know what kind it is, which is problematic because when I buy a new one, I'm going to have to just go through a bunch till I find one that I like. But if I took off this particular screen protector, I would not enjoy drawing straight up on an iPad Pro. So if you try out an iPad Pro or an iPad in general, any sort of screen that you're drawing on, if you try one out and it doesn't feel very good, it may be because drawing on glass is generally not that much fun. So putting on a screen protector often really helps. There are ones called, I think, Paper-like. I think that's a brand name, and then there are others that mimic that. But they kind of give a texture to it, so it feels more like you're drawing on paper, and it's much more pleasant. The one I have is still very smooth, so it's not a paper-like, but it's not glass, and it feels much better to draw on. So I hope that helps. Just a quick little tip there as we're wrapping things up. But yeah, so that's the story. Going to try and get back to some live streams where I'll do more gesture drawing. We'll do more. I'll probably work on card fire stuff, and then hopefully eventually we'll get back to those meteor live streams that have a whole lecture with them and things like that. JP says, iPad 16 with the M1 chip is newest. Can't believe they're at 16 already. Did they skip some? I definitely don't have that one, I can tell you that much. But I mean, you got to get one that works for you. If it's an older model and much cheaper, then that worked for me. I was content with that. But use the tools that work for you. Okay, so I don't have an official announcement when the next live stream is, but we're going to try and get back to doing them every week. It will either be Ferdinand or I. I'll keep poking Ferdinand to try and get him to do one, but I know he's really busy, so I appreciate your patience there. And if you do want to chat with Ferdinand about animation and art, the mentoring program is still going on right now and available, which let me pull that one up. You can find that at patreon.com/Animator Island. Ferdinand is still working hard to mentor folks there. So that is an available option for you if you want to chat with Ferdinand. And yeah, so that kind of wraps it up. Thanks for stopping by, folks. I hope that you're having a good week. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll be back soon with some more things to talk about and more art to do. All right, talk to you later. Bye.